Okay, it says I'm live. I'm sorry, guys, and I'll explain everything in a moment. Oh, good. All right. So, about halfway through this morning's stream, I realized I wasn't feeling very good. I didn't know why. Well, I know now. I'm sick. It's just a cold. It's not anything special, but I was lying down and I almost missed my own stream. I slept through the timer. Well, I slept through part of it. Um, so yeah, I'm sorry I'm late. I'll try not to get sick again, I guess. Um, all right. So I'm going to catch up from this morning. Please forgive my lack of proper attire as well. All right. So I'm going to catch up from this morning. Question was asked: what will stop people from abusing the maintenance exemption? Okay, the maintenance exemption, on paper, it says that if your firearm is damaged or needs repairs or servicing or something else, you can take it into an FFL holder. They will hold on to it until they can repair it and return it to you. Right. What will stop and what I didn't say, what it doesn't say is the real purpose for this exemption is in case you have a situation where you need to not have guns around. I've been there. I've done that. Papa Carey and Papa and Mama Carey came through for me. They took my guns away and probably saved my life. What's going to stop somebody from abusing this? All right. How do you know that somebody isn't going to say, oh, well, I'm just going to turn them in and say it's damaged or whatever, and just never go get it back. And I'll always have this receipt that says it's at Joe's pawn shop, or excuse me, Joe's gun shop. There's not much. That's the truth. And setting time limits on legitimate repairs for guns, especially something that's kind of exotic and hard to find parts for, completely inappropriate. So what do we do here? Well, nothing. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to force somebody every 6 months to turn around and turn it back in, or 3 months, or whatever. And I'm not going to force them to go down if it is legitimately damaged and have to go through this process again. That's it. That's all I can do. Oh. Now, I had to take this morning's stream private because there's some things in there that needed to be not in there. It will be back up, hopefully in a couple of hours when it's done blurring out that section. There's also a section towards the beginning that's blurred out by accident. Sorry. I made a goof, and shit happens. Okay. Now I'm going back to this morning's stream. Oh, yeah. To see if there were any questions that I did not answer that came up after the fact. And I know it's probably not a big deal, but well, apparently it's not going to be there for a while anyway. And there is literally nobody here. Okay, that's fine. I'm trying to find something to rant on, and unfortunately, I did most of my ranting this morning. Oh. Okay. Until somebody shows up, I'm just going to rant about a few things. Accuse the opposition of that which you yourself are guilty. That is not actually the quote. The quote is, the greatest trick played on Germany in the parentheses late war, being World War I, in the late war was to accuse Germany of the very things that her enemies were doing. Now, that was Joseph Goebbels in 1939 during the Nuremberg Rally. That happened. Okay. He was specifically talking about Russians accusing Germans of rape and murder when he's now accusing them of rape and murder. Well, the fact of the matter is, yeah, both sides did that. But he's also talking, and whether he realized it or not, about Britain and France violating, in some cases very flagrantly, the rules of war, using chemical weapons. Most Americans, most people in general, don't realize this. Germany did not use chemical weapons first. France did. France fired CSCN, I think that was it, maybe it was just CN, shells into German lines, forcing the Germans out of their trenches, and then they were machine gunned. Germany retaliated with, I believe it was phosgene gas. You want to break the rules? That's okay. We can break the rules too. Germany was using submarines to get past the British blockade at first. And then the British started arming merchant vessels without declaring them to be armed vessels. So Germany started arming their submarines. Britain accused Germany of breaking the rules of war with submarines, but had already been breaking the rules of war. This game, and I'm sure if you go back and you look at it a little more carefully, you can find so much more. Well, Germany did this. Well, Britain did that. Well, Germany did this. Well, France did that. And you can keep it backing it up all the way to before the outbreak of the war. Some sort of whatever. I don't care. It is what it is. And all of his other bluster notwithstanding, or revisionist history, more to the point, notwithstanding, Goebbels wasn't wrong. Russia, Britain, and France did accuse Germany of the very things that they themselves were doing. The Americans did it as well. Now, I'm going to do something a little unusual. For an afternoon stream, I'm going to share a screen. If I can figure out how this works again. There we go. Oh. You know what? I'm going to leave it like that. A dagger at the throat of American democracy. Why Joe Biden's intense 6th January
speech.
For
the first time in our history, a president had not just lost an election, he tried to prevent the peaceful transfer of power.
Fuck you. Why Joe Biden's intense 6th January speech was stunning TV. Okay, so you heard that little clip and whatever. Joe Biden laid the blame for the insurrection clearly and emphatically at the feet of Donald Trump. Okay. Somebody is forgetting what happened 4 years earlier with a limousine being torched, with people being beaten in the streets, with buildings being smashed in. I wonder why. Now here's a funny little bit of history. Well, actually I'm going to start with a funny little bit of medicine. Everybody knows I was married twice now. I assume everybody knows my second wife watched Grey's Anatomy. Now, me, I didn't care one way or the other, but there was one particular episode we're watching, and I'm not really paying any attention. Hey, Gulch. I don't even remember the name, and I remember the character's name is Mark. There'd been some sort of plane crash, an episode or, well, 2 or 3 episodes before. I remember they had little flashbacks of the plane crash itself, and the one chick looking up at the rescuers like, oh, somebody's here, right? That's probably the shock talking there. Now there's this one episode. The previous episode, this one doctor, Mark, had died. Okay. All right. This is my introduction to Grey's Anatomy. Good. Great. Good for me. But anyway. Now there's this episode where he's alive. And he's talking and he's happy. I remember thinking, oh, okay, they're working backwards in history. Or backwards in time. All right, that's... wait, he's alive? And he seems pretty good right now. What the hell? What happened to him? As this episode is going forward, Mark's talking to people, and he gives one of his colleagues some really great advice, personal advice, and he really seems like he's just so energetic. Everybody except one doctor leaves, and he looks at the other doctor. He says, is this what I think it is? And the other doctor says, let's just see what happens. Over the course of this episode, the rest of this, I'm introduced to a new term, surge. I ran this past Papa Carey. He says the thing is real. He didn't know about the term one way or the other. But as you're about to die, you can have a surge of great, intense power and energy. It's part of the death process. I know it's a real thing in automobiles, ironically enough. As your car is about to run out of gas, or your lawnmower, or your weed whacker, or whatever it is, just in the last couple of seconds, it's going to surge real hard. It winds up about 50% over what it had been doing, and then it cuts out. Apparently, that's a thing in humans, too. Just before he died, horse puppy Carrie was showing a lot of puppy-like behaviors. He was playing, he was jumping around, he was jumping off the ladder like he did when he was little. And then he started really slowing down very, very hard. And Dad made the decision to have him put down, and I agree. I concur. Alpine Gulch said, "Oh my God, I hope that. Oh my God, that happened to me today in the storm. Oh, I do hope you mean your car revved up and then sputtered out." On a global scale, the same phenomenon was seen in Germany in 1944. It's known as the Ardennes Offensive. You know, I've seen the operational code name a million times. I'm going to stop. I've seen Hitler's operational code name a million times, and I always forget what it was. Doesn't matter. Oh, excuse me. What does matter is just before his empire collapsed, Hitler had this surge of power, trying to force everybody back so that he could fight for, or force a negotiated truce. It failed completely. Almost as if this was a natural cycle that everything goes through. Now we are seeing the Democrats in particular are on a warpath with this inquisition, and Joe Biden giving a speech about how Donald Trump tried to prevent the peaceful transfer of power, even though we all watched it live, being a very violent process 4 years earlier. I'm going to say this. The Democratic Party is dying. They're in surge, and they're deep in surge. And part of their surge is to accuse the opposition of that which they themselves are guilty. Oh, Gulch. Well, everybody. You might want to back up to the start and watch it 2 times speed. There's a reason why I look like shit right now. I don't know how long the patient has left, but to judge from the insanity that was this morning's speech, I would say the patient is about to flatline very, very hard. Get a crash cart in there because it's about to hit. Oh, course, this is the questions and answers section, and I think I remembered to include. Yeah, good. So, that dagger at the throat of American democracy shit, you can take that and shove it up your ass. Oh, there we go. We're also seeing a little bit of this in the last year or so. A lot of musicians have sold their catalogs. Why? Well, because they see the writing on the wall. It's something's about to hit, and they want that liquid cash. And they're probably converting that liquid cash into, at least substantially, into gold or emergency food and water materials. They may not actually have the water, a couple 100 gallons of water. They may just have filters hanging around. And yes, of course, it's questions. It's the afternoon stream. Oh, God. I feel like crap tonight, or I look like crap tonight, Gulch, because I'm sick. And I'm going to power through anyway. Although, I might cut it about 15 minutes early. All right. And it's not just the U.S. that we're seeing this breakdown going, and it's Kazakhstan and France, of all things, and Australia. It's the worst because Australians, the people who were allowed to breed, were the type that would get with the program, and even they're saying no more. That should be a huge red flag. Okay, I'm not finding anything else particularly. Oh, thank you, Gulch. It's a 48-hour thing. Yeah, I'm not the first one to have it that I know of. I'm like one of the last, or at least one of the last people that I deal with on a regular basis. I knew it was coming. I also know my medical history. I'll probably be over it by tomorrow morning, whereas everybody else is taking at least a couple days. It is what it is. Oh, for fuck's sake. I had something in mind just now. I forgot what it was. Oh, right. Speaking of people being sick, the system is breaking down, and one of the ways you can tell is the story is changing faster than it's getting written now. It seems like every day there's a new story about COVID that's hit the line. It's about, there's a new variant. Oh, but it's not that serious. Oh, but it is. It's super serious, and you need to take it seriously. Oh, but this. Oh, but that. Oh, but something else. Now, the story has changed in a huge way, and we are allowed to talk about potential man-made source now. That would have gotten my entire channel yeeted a year ago. I would have actually had to appeal. I got 2 videos removed for talking about COVID in ways that the overlords did not like, specifically about something called Heal Light. I won't even put it up now because if you don't know about it by now, you're trying to not know. But basically, they stick a tube down your throat, they turn on a UV light, and it helps treat an infection. Okay, Alpine Gulch is saying, what did you think of Dick Cheney on the Capitol today? I know nothing about it. I purposefully and intentionally refused to tune in to that rally. I'm comparing what happened today to the Nuremberg rally of 1939. As a matter of fact, I should probably look up the name for that rally. It would have some German name. Yeah, I should do that. I didn't tune in to the 1939 rally, and I'm sure as shit not going to tune in to today's rally. I've already heard more than I want to. I know more than I want to about what happened today, and I'm disgusted and dismayed. I've also been hearing some things about what happened a year ago today that are very upsetting and disturbing now that they're coming to light. Like extra personnel being assigned with very interesting and specific orders. Oh, okay then. Something about a flare that went off that is of very curious and questionable nature. Like, why did this flare go off? I don't know, but I'm pretty sure we shouldn't like it. The question of who planted the bomb. The bombs happened. They were there. Right. Who put them there? Well, I can tell you it's a whole lot easier to put them there than it is to prove who did it. And then cast aspersions on who you want. My mind is pretty well open about who could have put them there. But I am saying, why would people who were attending the rally as supporters risk blowing themselves up? Great question. Excellent question. We should really get an answer. By the way, I was not aware Dick Cheney was still alive. How fucking old is that man? The 90s? Oh, God. I might have to cut it even earlier, guys. Anyway. This whole time, we've all been watching as certain parties keep changing their story. They keep changing their definitions. They keep changing their evolving their viewpoints. And yet, here we are. Nothing's actually changed. It's only gotten worse. Plus a chance, plus yes, a chance. I don't speak French. Sorry. I can only sound it out. But it is a beautiful Okay, Alpine Gulch wants me to tell of 1939. In Nuremberg, in 1939, the Nazis held a rally. It's a huge rally. There's something like 500,000 people in there, and they're huge blocks. They look like an army. They are an army. And right up the center strode Hitler himself, flanked by, I want to say it was 2 SS men. Right through this, like it was, a military review. He gave, I think, a 30-minute speech, and Goebbels gave his speech. And everybody else who was important gave their speeches. Now, I don't speak German. I can't translate what was said. I've seen the film of Hitler's speech. I can't remember any of it off the top of my head because it's pretty much Hitler being Hitler. What I do remember is that Goebbels, whose speech apparently was not recorded, I've never seen it, had said, the greatest trick used by our enemies during the late war was to accuse Germany of that which they themselves are doing. That was it. This is often misquoted as accuse the opposition of that which you yourself are guilty. And here we are seeing it happen. It happened again today. 4 years ago, your people were literally setting limos on fire, smashing in businesses, beating people in the streets. And here you are, accusing the opposition of refusing to allow a peaceful transfer of power. What in the fuck did you think you were doing? Now, I know there's some people who, by sheer determination, will try to pretend what happened in 2016 didn't, even though they watched it live and they cheered it on. I want to believe that most people are going to hear those words, especially today, and say, wait a second, what about the limo? What about the glass? What about the beatings? Joe? Did you think we don't know? Papa Carey's actually called what happened in 2016 Kristallnacht. And he's not wrong. Sorry, guys. Okay, I can close this one. Wait, what the fuck is this? I don't even know what this is anymore. All right. I'm going to delve into one of my favorite quotes. The truth does not mind there's many variations, and I'm going to go with this one. The truth wants to be challenged. A lie will not tolerate being questioned. I have yet heard a question related to mandatory carry that I've refused to answer. I've heard a bunch I couldn't answer. And I'll tell you straight up, you know what? I don't have an answer for you. Or I don't have a good answer, as was asked this morning. There's always going to be people who lie, cheat, and steal. And there's very little I can do about that. We just have to do the best we can until then. All right, I'm going to close out with this. Why should you support mandatory carry? Of all the stupid things, intellectually, I don't like it either. All right? I don't like mandatory carry myself. It's very upsetting and disturbing to me to think we live in a world, where not only would this be a thing, but it would be the only real solution to a bigger thing. But in answer to my own question, because there is no real alternative, those who want to disarm you, and I say this as somebody who's been there and done that, will never ever stop. Today they're talking about assault weapons. Tomorrow they're going to talk about lessers, a bolt action or pump action or repeater or whatever. And then they're going to talk about revolvers and muzzleloaders. And then they're going to talk about knives. The only thing that's ever going to stop them is to create a circumstance where there's nothing they can fight. One of the strange ironies to me is that people like Moms Demand Blood Money really, really need mandatory carry to pass. Wait, what? Yeah. Their grift is dependent. I said grift. I'm not taking it back. Their grift is dependent upon people who don't know or understand what's really going on in this debate, to continue to give them money. When all of the guns are banned, what is Moms Demand going to do? Going to close up shop? Well, eventually, yeah, they're going to have to close up shop. Because the guns are gone. The knives are gone. The narwhal tusks are gone. And we're living in this fantasy world where we took all the weapons away so nobody can hurt each other anymore. When mandatory carry passes, here's the beauty. Or when this gun control world passes, they won't have anything to fight. So how are they going to say, we need your money to fight these right-wing gun nuts or these right-wing narwhal nuts? They're not going to have anybody left to fight. They're going to close up shop and their gravy train is gone. They grifted themselves out of existence. When mandatory carry does pass, they will have an eternal enemy to fight until hell freezes over and God dies. Because they can always say, we're fighting this unconscionable mandatory carry amendment, and we need your money to do it. Now, the money may peter off over time, but there will always be a few people that are willing to give them money to fight this hopeless battle. And if nothing else, to try and force new wedges in or new exemptions in. Good luck with that, but let me know. And maybe you'll get something passed. I don't know. The fact that it takes a 3/4 of both houses independently and or no, I'm sorry, 2/3 of each house of Congress independently, and then the signature of the president, or 3/4 of both houses of Congress in the next session. Good luck with that. Albine got Ulch is saying, smart, cut the money out. Maybe. It'll, you know what? The money will always be there. This is the funniest thing on earth. I am Shannon Watts' best friend, and she doesn't even know it. Okay, guys, the room is spinning, so I think I better lie down again. Keep calm and mandatory carry on.